ready to get started?
All right.
Fire away.
Hope so. Justin, there we go. All right, good morning again, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm at-large Councilmember Robert White. Today, I'm announcing the introduction of my Whole Government Response to Crime Act of 2023. This is the first in a series of bills I'll be introducing focused on response to crime, prevention of crime, and recovery from crime. Response is first because we have to stop the violence in our city right now. Last week, DC surpassed 200 homicides for this year. That's a homicide rate that the district has not seen since 1997. Residents feel like they're living in a war zone, wondering if they'll be the next person caught in the middle of someone else's beef or senseless violence. At the beginning of the summer, I was at a community meeting where students from Whitlock Elementary School stood up and bravely read aloud a letter they had written to the mayor after two of their classmates were shot on the way home from school, getting off a bus. They said they were scared. And you could hear it in their voices. And they didn't just stop there. They spoke about their concern for their younger siblings. These are 9-year-olds concerned for their life and safety and concerned for the safety of people younger than them. And they spoke about the impact that violence has had on them. More recently, I heard from a mother of a 4-year-old who explained to me that she has taught her 4-year-old daughter that by the time they park their car at home and turn off the car, the 4-year-old has to have all her stuff together and her seatbelt off so they can run into the house because they're scared. Everyone rightly cares most about how we stop the shootings, the carjackings, the window smashings. We need it to end now. Our kids deserve for it to end now. We all deserve that. I want to be upfront with residents. I don't have a magic wand that will stop all violence tomorrow. No one does. And I believe that it adds insult to injury if ever we make false promises. But my crime response bill will make us safer quickly by fixing what's broken in our public safety system. The first pillar is improving government's response to crime. As a starting point, when residents call 911, they need someone to answer quickly. And they have to send first responders to the right place. My bill stands up a 911 system improvement task force that will examine our 911 system and within 90 days, diagnose the problems and give recommendations. And I will work with my colleagues here on the council to get those recommendations passed into law. I've heard from too many people and seen too many tragic headlines about loved ones dying because first responders were delayed or sent folks to the wrong address. On one day in September, 357 people called 911 for help, but hung up because the wait time was too long. People were experiencing an emergency, and their calls went unanswered in a moment of crisis. Second, my crime response bill addresses the short staffing and delayed evidence collection at the Department of Forensic Sciences in their crime scene division unit by implementing recruitment and retention initiatives. With the U.S. Attorney's Office declining to prosecute 67% of the people arrested in the district last year, fixing our Department of Forensic Sciences is crucial to ensuring swift, certain consequences for people committing the violence. Crime scene investigators are arriving late after crime. They are processing less evidence because DFS is short-staffed. This means evidence for prosecutors trying to hold a person accountable for violent crime is not where it needs to be. District reports show that the majority of gun violence in our city is caused by as few as 200 people. We need the right tools to catch those people, and those tools have to work. Third, my bill addresses the flow of guns, many of them illegal, into the district. In order to stop the influx of guns into the district, we need to know where they're coming from. Through my crime response bill, I made permanent my measure that's currently in effect on an emergency basis to track guns seized in our city to their sources so that we can identify particular states, particular stores, particular types of transactions that are leading to the proliferation of illegal guns in our streets. Fourth, my crime response bill creates a full-time victim services coordinator to connect residents to resources like legal aid, help with medical bills, mental health supports, and in the worst circumstances, funeral costs following violent incidents. In meetings with survivors, victims of violence, and families who have lost loved ones, tell me over and over again that they had no idea where to turn for support, and that having a connector or navigator would have made all the difference for them. Next, we have to talk about how we are going to get our arms around crimes by young people. This bill tackles the sharp rise in crime by young adults. DC has a lot of programs geared toward helping young adults get on the right path or stay on the right path. Programs like OSSI's Re-Engagement Center, the Pathways for Young Adults program, workforce programs, and others, but these programs can't be effective in silos, and they don't work if young adults don't know about them. Even with good programs, we can't counter the rise in crimes committed by young adults without a strategy. This bill would coordinate and align these various programs through a new director of emerging adults. The director will work with young adults and other experts to develop a strategy specifically for young adults, and one that will bring all of DC's programs to bear on reaching young people and reversing this trend. Additionally, in response to the violence and nightlife corridors across the district, we remember still from just about a week and a half ago, the tragic shooting and killing along the 8th Street corridor. We hear frequently from residents along the U Street corridor about their fear and concerns for safety. This bill creates a hospitality working group to find solutions that keep both customers and neighbors safe. Most of us don't want to see all of the nightlife in our city shut down, nor can we have people living in fear. So we need specific attention here. That includes law enforcement, establishment owners, residents, and nightlife organizations. Finally, our public safety system must be data-driven. Residents deserve to know not that we're just creating new programs, but that we are tracking and evaluating these programs to make sure they actually work. My crime response bill requires DC to start reporting on the work of violence prevention efforts like violence interrupters, the hospital-based violence intervention program, and roving leaders. With multiple organizations deployed across the city, we have to know which methods are working better than others so that we are getting better at this work that is a critical part of our comprehensive public safety approach. Residents deserve response to crime and violence right now. People want a public safety approach that works and works without causing unnecessary harm. This bill fixes gaps in the district's public safety approach with swift response and certainty of consequences, tracking where firearms are flowing into the district, and tackling the sharp rise in juvenile crime by providing opportunity and accountability for youth. And it addresses violence in our nightlife corridors. My team and I wrote the Whole Government Response to Crime Act to directly respond to a siloed and disjointed public safety system that is leaving residents feeling unsafe. This bill incorporates what we've learned from meetings with residents and community leaders, sharing what they need, people who have lost children and grandchildren to gun violence in our city, visiting communities, meeting with the Metropolitan Police Department, the Office of the Attorney General, and other agencies and public safety experts. I want to thank those folks for giving so many hours of their time to helping us get this right. There are truly a lot of people in our city who are focused on making our city better. And I want to especially thank my legislative assistant, Lisa Wright, and my legislative director, Katie Whitehouse, for countless hours and not a lot of sleep in helping us get this bill written as quickly as possible. This bill takes our crime response many strides forward by fixing parts in our community and in our public safety system that need to work to keep residents safe. So I urge the council to pass my Whole Government Response to Crime Act without delay. I look forward to working with my colleagues on the council and across government and even outside of government to make sure that we are reversing the trend in crime that is plaguing our city. And again, I want to thank you all for being with us today on such an important topic. So with that, I would be happy to take any questions.
Councilman,